Hey, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we will understand about the dopamine and dopamine fasting. So, the dopamine is the neurotransmitter released by the response of the certain type of the trigger will lead to excite the other neurons, lead to get the positive reward like the sex and the other winning strategy. This is the brain basically contain a different type of the nerves, different type of the neurons. This astrocyte and this is the presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron. Presynaptic neuron is the dopaminergic neuron. We release and responsible for the releasing of the dopamine. We need to bind with the postsynaptic neuron through a D2 receptor, and this will lead to excite the postsynaptic neuron, not inhibit but excite, will lead to give the positive feedback. In this way our body will relax and we will feel very pleasure and happiness. This dopamine released by the certain type of the triggers like the winning and the sex or other type like the eating behavior. After the eating, the dopamine release for the relaxation due to the postsynaptic neuron will bind with the D2 receptor with the neurotransmitter dopamine. The other dopamine will recycle to convert HVA by action of MAO and COMT. Discuss later. Signal transmission will lead to give the reward and give the basically the anything. So the GABAergic neuron will inhibit the excitation of the dopaminergic neuron, and the GABAergic neuron inhibit due to the trigger of the dopamine fasting. GABAergic neuron we will target for the dopamine fasting. So the dopamine fasting prediction we will discuss if so whenever you will stop eating, drug, stop and other like pornography and other excitement videos, whenever you will quit and smoking, in this way the vesicle remain inside of the dopaminergic neuron, the presynaptic neuron. In this way the exocytosis will not occur, the dopamine vesicle and synthesis increase but not release. In this way, whenever you will open the fasting, the window of the fasting open will lead to exocytosis again, more increase, and in this way the dopamine receptor affinity with the dopamine will increase to get more pleasure, and in this way you can maintain yourself, and in this way you will not feel the boring and you will not feel any other disease like Huntington, Alzheimer, Parkinson disease. The stop drug will lead to dopamine fasting benefit like increased focus and concentration, reduce anxiety and stress, increase self-control. Remember about that things, the drug, food eating behavior and other type of things whenever you will stop, and pornography whenever you will stop, in this way you will enter into the dopamine fasting. Let's understand about the explanation and the biochemistry. So, the tyrosine will convert in the presynaptic neuron to L-DOPA, and the dopamine will, due to the tyrosinase enzyme and hydroxylase enzyme, will lead to tyrosine convert into the L dihydroxyphenyl alanine is known as the L-DOPA, and will convert into the basically dopamine. So in this way the dopamine stored in the vesicle, and in this way remember the vesicular monoamine transporter 2, which that increase the exocytosis, but the dopamine fasting will increase the vesicle formation. So remember the tyrosine basically will convert due to the tyrosinase and hydroxylase enzyme to L-phenyl hydroxyphenyl alanine is known as the L-DOPA. This L-DOPA will on the presence of the DOPA decarboxylase enzyme to convert this dopamine, and this dopamine basically will degrade for recycling whenever the uptake again will recycling, and this recycling by the MAO. The MAO is known as the monoamine oxidase. This monoamine oxidase and the COMT, and basically the COMT is the catechol oxymethyl transferase enzyme, and AD, the aldehyde dehydrogenase enzyme, which that will lead to 3-methoxy tryptamine and the 3,4-dihydroxyphenyl acetate and the 3-methoxy-4-hydroxyphenyl acetate conversion. And this conversion is a byproduct, and this is the basically degradation process will lead to recycle and synthesis in the astrocyte, and this will lead to also reuptake into the same presynaptic neuron, like the dopaminergic neuron for reuptaking, and will lead to resynthesis, and in this way again clear. So astrocyte function is here the structural support, blood-brain barrier, neurotransmitter recycling like the dopamine, and ion homeostasis and synaptic support. So important thing you should need to understand the releasing of the neurotransmitter dopamine on the presence of the COMT and MAO, which that will lead to degrade, and this degradation is basically 3-methoxy tryptamine and other things, and in this way it will basically also enter into the dopamine also enter into the astrocyte to recycle again as a metabolism of the HVA and POPAC, so the DOPAC, which that is basically the metabolism will lead to recycle to convert the tyrosine, and the tyrosine will enter into the dopaminergic neuron to resynthesis, and in this way whenever you will fasting, so the dopamine increase but not release, so the dopamine restoration will occur. This dopamine restoration will lead to function properly again for the excitation of the neuron and cognitive function.